My grandfather lived in Oklahoma. He lived in a little place in Oklahoma called Marble City, Oklahoma. Does anybody know where Marble City, Oklahoma is? We have a couple winners. I'm serious. Town of 205 people at the most. And he calls me up and he goes, Jeremy, I'm 17 years old now. I've been doing this, living on my own thing for a while. He goes, Jeremy, I called him up because I needed money. And I asked him, can I have some money? And he said, no, instead, why don't you just come out here and you know, we'll get your life straightened out. And I had this whole idea of, I like being in control of my life. We all like being in control of our lives, right? We want to tell ourselves when to go to bed, how many Oreo double stuffed cookies we can eat. Anyways, I wanted to be in control of my life. So I told my grandfather no. I hung up the phone. About 2 months later, I got in trouble. The person that would let me live there, I stole money and weed and all this other stuff off of him. He tried to kill me. I believe him. Because he was. I called, I begged him. Have you ever had to beg for your life? It'll put a perspective on things. I called my grandfather up and asked him, he said, I had a plane ticket. He said, yeah. He overnighted the plane ticket. I lived on the street for a night. I got at the airport, LAX International Airport, and I went back in time to Marble City. Because LA is a lot different than Marble City, wouldn't you think? And it was just, wow. And my grandfather let me stay there, and he said, okay, for you to stay here, you got to obey 4 different rules, 4 separate rules. 1, you have to quit drugs and alcohol and all that other stuff. The second one, you have to go back to school. It's like, oh. The third one, you have, after you graduate, you have to go in the military or you got to go to college. And the fourth one ripped my mind apart. He said, Jeremy, you have to go to church. Nobody in my family ever went to church. Even my grandfather didn't go to church, but he knew there better be something in church. So I agreed. I walked into Sallisaw High School, and the second week I was there, some guy with this cowboy hat looking boot thing come up over there and go, you want to go to church, please? Heck yeah, that's one of my requirements. I want it. You know? So I went into this church, right? And it's just like any other church. I found out how easy it was to act. I learned how to walk, talk, and act like a Christian in 2 weeks. It's the easiest thing in the world to do is act like a Christian. Don't you agree? I mean, if we gave out Emmys here, it would just, what would it say? I mean, would there be a lot of awards? And I did it. I finally graduated at the age of, to give you an analogy on when I graduated, they wanted me to graduate before the prom was coming up because I was almost 21 years old. I was 20 years old when I graduated. That's pretty bad. I tell you, I still can't spell, man. It's horrible. I think the only way they graduated me is just get me out of there because I wouldn't give up. You know, actually, my grandfather wouldn't let me go up. And then after that, I went to the military. I went to the Navy. You know what the Navy stands for, right? Never again volunteer yourself? No. It's better than USMC, you know. Uncle Sam's Misguided Children. No, nothing about that anymore. I'm sorry. Oh, you guys let me get my book kicked out of the I was in the Navy. I did 4 years in the Navy. And while I was doing 4 years in the Navy, I started redoing the drugs and everything. I did it in high school. I just kind of pacified my grandfather, and he didn't know anything because there was like a 50-year generation gap. You know, so it was easy to fool old people. But it wasn't really easy to fool yourself. And you can't fool God. So I went to the military, and I started doing really good. I went to diesel mechanic school and all this other stuff, and I learned how to be a diesel mechanic, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So when I re-enlisted, after 4 years, I said, do you want to re-enlist? I said, oh, heck yeah, I do. Where it is. is. Just let me sign that line. So I signed the line. I took all everything, the test and everything there. Last thing they said, Jeremy, you got to take a physical. Oh boy. After the physical, they said, Jeremy, I'm sorry. But you have a heart disease. Due to the heart disease, I've laid on a table twice, awake. Cut me, and they opened me up, and they inserted stuff inside my chest. Not fun. It's a drug life. My dad right now is dying right now from hepatitis C and cirrhosis. He takes a shot every other day. May I say this? He is butt ugly. My real mom, what can you say? She wasted her life away on heroin. My uncle, her brother, America's Most Wanted, put on the railroad track over drugs. Genealogy doesn't get you better. That's all I got to say. So here I am. Got out of the military, depressed, thinking I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing something. My wife's stuff's on one side of the apartment, my stuff's on the other side of the apartment, and Tyler, my clothes, is in the center. Doing drugs, listening to music like none other, the demonic stuff. Changed my ATM PIN number to 6666. Several times I've looked up at the sky and thought if there is a God, told what I thought. It's my life. I thought about every family member I had, and every single one was divorced. My great-grandma, her first marriage was 4 years. Her dad hung himself after the first year of marriage. My grandfather, 4 years, divorced. My dad, first marriage to my mom, 3 years, divorced. This is my life, huh? This is my life? I can't take it. There's got to be help, you know? I've tried everything to keep my life just in track, just keep it together. So one night I come home from work, I walk in the house, literally, all of her stuff was boxed up and put in a corner. All my stuff was still where as it was. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I panicked. If you're really God, if you're really as big as you say you are, and if you're really as big as other people say you are, save my marriage. I'll do whatever you want for the rest of my life, no matter what. So while I was doing that whole playing church thing in Salisbury, I called up my former youth pastor. It was kind of cool because when I was in Salisbury, the very first time, within the first 4 months, they did this Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames Fire drama. And it was so cool because they needed someone to play death and they had to be really ugly, so I was nominated. And the cool thing about this play, it was the very first play of its kind. Another cool thing is 10 years later, to the month, I called him up and he told me to meet him at this church in Jake's. And they were having this Hell's Flames, Heaven's Gates, called the Book of Life drama. And it was the very last production of the Book of Life drama. I got saved June 2nd of 2000, that one stinking play. It's kind of weird.